I'm sorry, guys. I accidentally ended it. I didn't mean to end it. I must have ended it by accident. But not only could you it was pretty amazing when someone found their soulmate. Not only could they be almost anywhere, but you could only tell if it was them by scent. You just knew, they said. You would smell it and something would just click. But if there were too many scents around, or you weren't paying attention, there was always a chance you might miss it. Most people reasonably didn't want to wait around for their soulmates to show up. Once they settled down with other people, and so they settled down with other people instead. Once a pair of mates mark one another on their scent glands, bonding hormones released into the body would prevent them from being able to recognize their soulmate's scent, and vice versa. So since most people's soulmates never found who their soulmate was, a hero finding theirs on a rescue mission was a pretty big fucking deal. Must be nice, he thought. Katsuki knew he was going to find his soulmate someday. He could just feel it. He didn't know anyone who had a mate and just settled for someone, but Katsuki didn't just. Everyone he knew who had a mate just settled for someone, but Katsuki didn't settle. He knew he was exceptional. He wasn't fucking average. So clearly, he wasn't meant to have an average mate either. He just hoped the soulmate would wait around long enough for him to find them. But clearly they would, right? If they were Katsuki's soulmate, clearly they'd be the kind of person who'd also wait. He wondered what his soulmate was like, or who they were, or how old they were. It was pretty common for soulmates to be different ages after all. And Katsuki bet his soulmate was super cute. They probably had a quirk just as badass as Katsuki's. They could be a fucking power couple. One thing he knew for sure, his mate was definitely an Omega. Katsuki couldn't imagine ending up with anyone else. His mom was an Alpha who'd settled down with his Beta father, and Katsuki didn't know how they'd done it. He could just feel it in his bones. Whoever his soulmate was, it was an Omega. He wondered if his Omega had even presented yet. Everyone knew you wouldn't be able to catch your soulmate's scent until both soulmates were sexually mature. If his soulmate was an Omega and hadn't presented yet, Katsuki wouldn't be able to catch their scent, even if they were sitting right next to him. He scanned through the classroom, looking at the other students who were still chatting amongst one another noisily. There weren't a lot of Omegas at UA, especially not in the hero course. Omega heroes had their own needs and had to overcome own needs and challenges they had to overcome purely based on their biology. Therefore, a lot of Omega chose to attend high schools that have Omega-only hero courses, which were more tailored to their needs. And that was all fine and dandy for Omegas, but it meant Katsuki wasn't getting exposed to more people who might be a soulmate, and that was the problem. The only Omega in their class was fucking Kaminari, and he wasn't even close to Katsuki's type. Good thing too, because Shitty Hair might try to rip his arm off it if he tried anything. Katsuki would whip his ass, but it would be... Wait, where's my... Oh, there it is. Okay. And that was the problem. The only Omega in their class was fucking Kaminari, and he wasn't even close to Katsuki's type. Good thing too, because Shitty Hair might try to rip his arm off if he tried anything. Katsuki would whip his ass, but it would be one messy scene. Eraserhead probably wouldn't appreciate two of his alpha students going in the classroom over the class Omega. He'd expel them for causing a ruckus for sure. Tremors Omega, he heard a voice mutter behind him, the sound of Degu's never-ending monologue pulling him out of his thoughts. Looks like her soulmate is an alpha. No surprise there, since alphas and omegas tend to be second mates, soulmates more often than with any other second sexes. Not a lot of information on that soulmate for now, except that she's clearly American. She seems just like she's an ordinary citizen. Tremor is an alumni of Shiketsu High School. She graduated about 5 years ago. So far she's a rookie. But the news of her finding her soulmate is sure to propel her up the hero popularity ranks pretty quickly. Her hobbies include, give it a fucking break, Deku, Katsuki said, finally reaching his limit. He glared over at his shoulder at the beta boy, who was looking back at him in surprise. We don't need a fucking biography on the woman. Todoroki was still leaning over Deku's shoulder, and he and Katsuki gaze clashed again. The slightest glimmer of emotion had appeared on the other boy's features as he narrowed at his gaze at Katsuki and leaned a little bit further over Deku in almost a protective stance. He didn't break eyes with Katsuki, as if challenging him, daring him to keep going. What a joke. Katsuki could wipe the floor with him. I'm interested, Icy Hot said to Deku, placing a hand on their shoulder. Deku sent Katsuki a nervous look, but clearly feeling comforted by the presence of another equally strong alpha, he returned his gaze to the phone. Oh, look at that. Look. You see that right where the orange thing is? It's like a curve, right where that's supposed to go. Hobbies include, Katsuki gritted his teeth, glaring daggers into the other alpha, but Todoroki was no longer deigning to acknowledge him. That fucker! What the fuck was he doing, humoring Deku like that? Katsuki glanced at Deku, who had moved on to rambling about Tremor's hero costume. As he muttered about the fibers and the costume items, the apprehensive look he'd worn moments before melted away, and his eyes glimmered with excitement, a small smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. It was weird that Deku had grown up to be a beta. Every kid was a beta when they were young, and alphas and omegas were presented somewhere along in their like an omega, following Katsuki from place to place, telling him how great he was all the time. Katsuki had been so fucking sure. But then Deku never presented. He stayed a fucking beta. It pissed Katsuki off. He caught another whiff of Deku's scent in the air, and it sniffed it, thinking, it was a good scent, but in the end, it was just the scent of a normal beta. It didn't do anything to him. It didn't affect him in any way. For some reason, it left him feeling a little bit disappointed. I know why. Because you love Deku. And because he's going to present. I know he is. I've read this book before. Trust me on this. First, the bell rang for the start of homeroom, and Eraser had entered, gazing over the class with his usual exhausted expression. It was always comforting to know that someone wanted to be around class 1A, even less than Katsuki did. All right, that's the bell, his homeroom teacher said. Sit down and put those phones away, all of you, before I take them. Oh God, sorry guys. Students started sitting down, rummaging through their bags for pens and textbooks. Todoroki finally quit his lurking over Deku's shoulder, returning to his own assigned seat between Yaburaza and the guy with the sugar addiction. Deku had put his phone away, but it was still scribbling some last-minute notes in that damn notebook of his. Face mask with face. His face masked with his face a mask of deep concentration. Fucking nerd. I'm sorry, I'm so noisy. If you didn't hear that, he was mad because Deku was writing down stuff. As he started to turn back to the front of the room, he recognized that scent he'd smelled earlier. That was weird one that had been coming from Deku underneath his usual smell, but still lingering there. Fuck, it smelled weird. Not bad per se. It didn't make Deku stink, but it was different than before. Someone else had to have noticed by now, right? It couldn't just be Katsuki smelling this. What the fuck is it? Was it? Hey, Midoriya. Shiro said, sitting in a seat next to Deku. You feeling okay? You look a little off, and no offense, you smell kind of funny. Oh, so it wasn't just Katsuki who noticed after all. He listened to the two conversing behind him. Yeah, I'm fine. I got kicked off of my account. So, guess what? Yeah, I got kicked off of my account and my account was deleted. So, I don't know how to get back in. Yeah, I'm fine, Deku said. Just feeling a little off today. Maybe I'm coming down with something. Great, the explosive teen thought while turning out the rest of the conversation while he watched Aizawa write some class announcements on the blackboard. Deku better not get him sick, or there would be hell to pay. Okay, I will read the second chapter, I believe, in less parts than this one. So, okay, bye.